Now, I see all these preseason polls and these rankings and sports media members throwing out their top 25s, and I'm so sick already of people acting like USC, Southern Cal, is a top 5 team in the country right now. I get that they're a huge brand. They do return last year's Heisman winner in Caleb Williams, and nobody is going to question whether or not Lincoln Riley is an absolute sorcerer when it comes to offensive game planning and play calling. But in order to be a top 5 team and a national championship contender, you have to be better on more than one side of the ball than everybody else. You need balance. And as much as an offense needs balance, we talk about it all the time, a team needs it even more, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Because there are always those couple of games each season where your best side of the ball struggles and your weaker side has to bail you out. Sometimes you have to be able to drive left to score. And until USC proves that they can do that in a big game, I'm not talking about a cupcake game, they are not going to win a team trophy. Being balanced also includes having an identity that somewhat breeds physicality. Now, if you look at the numbers, Lincoln Riley is 0-3 in the college football playoff, and he's 1-4 overall in bowl games as a head coach. And in those 4 losses, he's averaging giving up 52 points a game, half a hundo. Why has Utah run through the evaporating Pac-12 the past 2 years? Because they're the team with the best mix of physicality and talent. Look to the Big 12. Baylor and Oklahoma State came up because of physicality. Kansas State last year and TCU did the same thing. That bully attitude, blended with ability, is the main reason the Southeastern Conference has dominated the sport and is the secret behind Michigan overtaking Ohio State. To put it plainly, I would rather have a tough team on both sides of the ball than a team that views itself as a cute offensive group, as elite as they may be on that side of the ball, and just tries to get by defensively. Now, the crazy part is this isn't a USC problem or the West Coast is Charmin soft speech. It's a Lincoln Riley problem. I watched USC dominate Auburn physically when Pete Carroll had them rolling. They would dominate teams physically every week. I watched it firsthand in 2003 when they came into Jordan-Hare. Deep down, USC is more ice road truckers than they are the OC. It is in their program's DNA. But we saw this same problem when Lincoln was at Oklahoma. And even though he's only going in a year or 2 in SoCal, if someone shows you who they are, eventually you have to believe them. The even crazier part is that Riley's style of offense isn't soft either. It's predicated on play action and combinations off of gap scheme runs and influences. Riley's had guys like Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and now Caleb Williams. And he hasn't even made it to the title game. You can fall in love with these cute teams all you want. And USC is going to be deadly on offense. But if they don't evolve their thinking or they don't start becoming a more balanced all-around team, they are not going to win anything of substance outside of individual awards. And the Grinch is going to keep stealing Christmas from the fans. But I've stayed awake because I drink Black Rifle coffee, and it's absolutely freaking delicious. We all know summer's in full swing as well. And look, summer, we're not all kids in school. Okay, you don't get summer off, all right? So maybe you don't have time to brew coffee the traditional way each morning. That's why Black Rifle, speaking about Josh Heupel's offense,
tell them.
You want a warp drive offense? All right, they got their ready to brew, ready to drink cans. All right, ready to drink coffee. It's perfect for people who need their coffee quickly. They've got great flavors: vanilla bomb, salted caramel, mocha, vanilla caramel. If you need any other flavor than that, then I probably need to call the police and get you checked out, or just do a welfare check on you, because that just covers the spectrum of deliciousness. So stop running out of coffee and sign up for a coffee club subscription as well to have Black Rifle coffee delivered straight to your door on a schedule, founded by veterans, principled men and women who honor those who protect, defend, and support our country. And with every purchase you make, they give back. David, what do you got over there?
Blackbeard's Delight.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
And yes, it's empty because I drank it all.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Look at that.
Blackbeard's Delight. Why have I never heard of that one before?
Because I drank it all.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. What do you got over there, Flame?
Gunship, baby. Delicious.
Yes.
Absolutely delicious. A light roast.
A light roast.
A light roast.
Flaming Dragon roast maybe on the way?
I mean, look, it's in the works.
It is.
It's in the works. We're busy with football. They're busy making coffee. But, you know, we're trying to get it in. We're trying to get it in.
So save money and drink America's coffee. Go to blackriflecoffee.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, at checkout for 10% off your one-time purchase or your first coffee club order. Do it. It's great for you, great for them, it's great for us. Go to blackriflecoffee.com. Promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for 10% off. You can also find Black Rifle Coffee in grocery and convenience stores near you. That's great, but go online because that helps everybody. Yeah, David Cone. And I want it to work. David Cone, former Michigan quarterback, Blaine Crane, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. I love Lincoln Riley.
Do you?
If we're talking about Lincoln Riley as an offensive play caller or game planner, top 5 in the country, man. Not even close. But as a head coach, he's not balanced. I think Lane Kiffin has a similar problem. It's just the truth, man.
Yeah, he's not the only one. I mean, defense wins championships is one of the most famous sayings in sports for a reason. Now, Lincoln Riley can just flat out coach football. At least, we can agree on that. And I'm looking down at his record right here. 12-2. I'm going down from 2017 on when he started at Oklahoma. 12-2, 12-2, 12-2, 9-2. The only year he didn't win 10 games was the COVID year, and he still won 9. Then went 10-2, 11-3 last year with USC. So obviously, the guy can really coach football. I agree with what you're saying about the team not being balanced, and I keep wondering if his move from Oklahoma to USC was just his thinking in, I can get better defensive athletes at USC than I could get at Oklahoma, which I don't necessarily agree with. Or perhaps it was just, hey, they just paid me this much money and I had to leave to go take this job. Either way, Lincoln Riley is not the only one dealing with this right now. Steve Sarkisian is another one, and Lane Kiffin. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Texas could be a top 5 team this season. What have we seen from Steve Sarkisian, with his time at Texas so far, with being a great offensive play caller, that leads us to think that the defense could be on a level to be able to compete with Georgia and Alabama and LSU and those sorts of teams. So it's going to be interesting with those offensive-minded coaches around the country if the game continues to go sort of the way of the NFL, where you can see someone like Patrick Mahomes take over and dominate and win championships, or if we're going to see more of what we've seen the last 2 seasons from Georgia, where it's, hey, we're going to have the best front 7 on defense, and you're just not going to score against us.
Yeah, and this isn't a Lincoln Riley can't coach. This is, if we're going to talk about the elite of the elite, the championship coaches, if we're going to try and put him in the same breath with the top guys out there, eventually you have to be able to win the big game. You can't sit here and get punked by Tulane. Not that was nearly as big of a game as the one they lost against Georgia when Baker Mayfield was running around there in that absolute shootout. But to take that next step, to become an elite championship winning coach, you have to eventually be able to adjust to it. And again, Blaine, like I said, if this was something where he was coming from a smaller school and he was having to go up against big dogs in the postseason to be able to win it, and they just weren't good enough from a personnel standpoint, I would not be saying this right now. I would be willing to give him more of the benefit of the doubt. But you were at Oklahoma, dog. Mm-hmm. Like, let's not act like you can't get players at Oklahoma, especially defensively. You're in the Midwest. There's nothing to do outside.
So what's the problem?
Running
like,
people.
It's like what?
I think it's mentality. I think it's identity. I think it is. It's one thing to know. Lincoln Riley knows this.
Yeah.
I'm not telling Lincoln Riley anything he doesn't know, but it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to be able to fix it. Now, can you put it all on Alex Grinch? You can put a lot of it. That he's been the DC while with Lincoln Riley, and none of it's changed. But at the end of the day, Lincoln Riley's the head coach. The buck stops with you. Mm-hmm. So at what point do you walk in there and say, listen, I don't want to just be known as the Globetrotters, great on offense, defense, we're just going to try and get by. And I know Lincoln wants to be physical on offense. At Oklahoma, it's gap scheme, run, play action, downhill, whatever.
Power.
At some point, when do you get up in front of that team and you're like, I'm sick of us getting our ass kicked in front of everybody on defense.
And I'm sure
sick of y'all being soft. I don't know.
And it's not like they haven't had players.
I know that, but I don't know with Lincoln Riley. Like, his personality, I don't know, man.
So, it blows my mind because, first of all, just the amount of talent that they've had, especially at the quarterback position, that they haven't even gone to a title game. Like, you go back and look at the playoff games they were in, like the battles they had with Georgia. Like, they go into double overtime. Like, they're playing extremely good teams when it matters most, but we've seen it lately. When you get in these playoffs, you kind of go back to TCU and Michigan. Like, defense are going to win you these games.
Have to.
Like, especially when you get two great. When you get in the playoffs, there's no such thing as a bad offense or a bad team or a bad defense. But with USC, like, even Tulane, it just tells you, like, you can. And it goes back to the Warriors almost. And I try to comp it. You can shoot threes, you can shoot 40, 50 threes a game, and some days you're going to hit them. and you're extremely talented, most days you're going to hit them. But that one day you don't hit them could be that one day you're in the playoff and you need it to.
You better be able to rebound and play defense.
Absolutely.
Right? We see in the NCAA tournament all the time. You want to win the national championship in the NCAA tournament, you're not going to shoot 60% from three every game all the way through it. At some point, you're going to have to be able to win the game in multiple ways. And at least with Lincoln Riley throughout his career, and I'm holding him to a high standard because that's how much respect I have for him. This isn't Lincoln Riley sucks or Lincoln Riley can't coach.
No.
It's like at some point, and maybe he will figure it out at USC. But I'm looking at what they did in the transfer portal. They made some ads, but this USC team on defense, to me, you don't have to be the steel curtain. It doesn't have to be your best side of the ball. You just got to be able to stop somebody when it matters. What did you give up, 63 to Georgia in that game? You gave up, 55 to Bama in the playoff? You gave up, what was that, 45, something like that? And you gave up, 44, 45 to Tulane? You are getting absolutely punked in these big games, and you're responsible for getting the defense ready too as the head coach.
Yeah, that the defensive side of the ball and that roster at USC wasn't in a great place when he came in. So it's not surprising that they were better on offense, than they were good on defense early, right?
Not at all.
And when you look at them winning 11 games in Lincoln Riley's first year there and having the Heisman Trophy winner, I think that he is ahead of schedule. In terms of what he's doing at SC. Now, I know your complaint is mostly about why is everyone putting them in their top.
That's my biggest.
But I think he's ahead of schedule, and like Blaine and I have been talking about this. I can't imagine that they're as bad on defense.
No way.
In season, are they good enough to win the national championship? Now that's where we're kind of getting into it.
And the last thing, just to put a cherry on top of it, and I think you brought this up the last time we talked. We were talking about this. USC led the world in turnovers last year on defense. The defense forced a ton of turnovers, or it could have been a lot worse. So I don't think you're going to be able to generate that amount of turnovers again. Typically, it doesn't go hand in hand like that year to year. So if you're not able to generate that amount of turnovers, but you are slightly better just defensively in general, tackling, getting off the field in third down, out of your base stuff, not even having to manufacture pressure or something like that, is there some sort of not autocorrect, but balancing out where the defense is maybe a little bit better than last year? Because if they're only a little bit better than last year on defense, you're not winning a national championship. And if you somehow do make the playoff, you look at USC's schedule, I mean, it's not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination.
Because remember last year they didn't have Oregon or Washington on there.
Yeah, we're going to find out. So it's going to be really interesting. We want to know what you think. We're taking live calls today, 1-855-236-3228. Very interested to see what you guys think. Booster Club as well. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We are almost to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. We want to get there before college football season kicks off. That's August 26th. Hey, YouTube, we are almost to 100,000 subs. I think we're at 95.2 the last time I checked. We really appreciate it, guys. We want to get to that 100,000. We're almost there, and we want to do it before college football season kicks off. It'd be a great way to ring in the new year, new season, and we'd really appreciate it.